Well, I mean, you picked conservative commentary, which is a slog, if we're honest. I mean, it's a thankless task for which a reward is usually being shouted at, in your case, or being torn down by your peers. It's not an ideal place for a young woman to start in the workforce. What's it that drives you to toss yourself into this witch-hunting, flame-throwing environment?
I mean, I think I've always been into politics and I've always been conservative. I mean, the reason why I'm conservative is because I think ambition is at the core of everything we should do. It's been the core of everything in my life. You know, I come from a disadvantaged background. I have learning difficulties. You know, I was never the top of the class at school. I was never going to be top of the class at school. I've had it pretty rough. So for me, it was, you know, the hand I was dealt with in life wasn't the best. And having ambition is extremely important because there was a time when nobody thought I was ever going to get any GCSEs, which are like high school grades that we had. You know, people like me just go and work in Tesco's, and I didn't want that for myself. And I think ambition has been a really important part in my life of getting myself further than what most people would have expected me to do. And that's, again, one of the core parts of politics for me. So I think, yeah, just wanting to share that ambition, you know, fight for working people. You know, we watch the news and it's always, you know, these middle-class lefties that are, you know, funded by the bank of mum and dad that like to go and glue themselves to a road on a Tuesday morning. Like, you know, for working people, our life isn't like that. So I think, you know, if you want more representation, if you want a voice, then you just have to go and be that voice. You know, if you want something done, do it yourself, pretty much.
Yes, well, I see you found a kindred spirit in the late, great Maggie Thatcher, and everyone has to have a political hero. Now, as a working class girl, right to the soul, why did you pick Thatcher?
I think both me and her have got a very similar view to what conservatism is. She very much agreed with me in the fact that conservatism is conservatism with working people at its core, and that ambition and that giving people the freedom to make better of their lives is something that is very important to everyone. I think nowadays the working class, you know, Labour like to try and baby the working class. They like to try and make us feel like victims, but also make us feel in a way that we're chained to the state and that we can't do anything without them, which isn't the case at all. We absolutely can. And also there's been this weird sort of shift where if you say, you know, I come from a working class background, but I want to make a better life for myself and for my children, it's almost seen to be a bad thing, which is just completely bonkers. But Margaret Thatcher was very much the same. I mean, we have enemies in the Conservative Party. I have enemies within the Conservative Party, just how she does. The sort of more elitist, aristocratic sort of Conservatives detested Margaret Thatcher in the same way that more of the wealthier sort of Conservatives, the ones that are very sort of liberal, they believe in all of the net zero nonsense, and they're not really Conservatives. They really should just be the British version of the Lib Dems. They detest me as well. So again, it's a very similar thing.